Let me set the scene for you. It's Friday night around 8 p.m. You just wrapped up a long and tiring work week. You've had dinner, you're a parent that maybe you just finished putting the kids to bed, and you decide that you're going to spend your night chilling in front of the TV. You boot up your PlayStation, and you look at your home screen and think, damn, I have nothing to play right now. I have thought about this feeling for a very long time. Nothing sounds good to eat right now. There's nothing to watch on Netflix. I have nothing to play. Outside of being first world problems for people who really have no reason to complain about anything, why do we fall into the state of mind in the modern age where we have nearly infinite choices and things to fill our time? My goal today, dear viewer, is to help you combat the feelings of despair and lethargy when the world gives you a much needed respite from labor and toil. That whenever those precious hours of free time come, you aren't stuck spending time deciding what game you will play or what movie you'll watch. You'll be using your free time enjoying new experiences and seeing things from fresh perspectives. I'm an accountant by day, so let's crunch a few numbers real quick. Let's take a look at the number of movies released each year by major studios in the United States between 2000 and 2023. We also have the number of games released on Steam each year between 2004 and 2024.
It's over 9,000!
As we can see, there is so much content created and sold each and every year that it is literally impossible for us to be able to consume it all. I didn't even mention television, online videos like this one that you're watching, thank you, social media posts, podcasts, audiobooks. The amount of content available to us is endless, and frankly, I'm getting overwhelmed just talking about it. It's no wonder that psychologists have spent time researching the concept of choice overload. Choice overload is when a person is presented with so many options that it negatively affects the person's ability to make a decision. The Harvard Business Review estimates that the average person makes 33,000 to 35,000 decisions every day. Obviously, some of these decisions happen automatically, but the point remains. People have a finite amount of energy to use when making decisions, and the unlimited options we have are more of a hindrance than a help. The research is mixed on this subject, but I saw a couple patterns arise when I was scrolling through studies and articles on this topic. People tend to be the most unsatisfied when they have zero options. If your only option was to play college football 25, I understand why you would feel unsatisfied. Assuming you aren't a degenerate college football fan with a potentially harmful gambling addiction, of course. If you are either of those things, then this statement doesn't apply to you and you can just continue on living, my dude. The next pattern I saw is that when the list of options is too long, it drains our energy to choose. We either choose nothing or end up unhappy with what we end up choosing. So, now that we understand the need to reduce the number of options when choosing a game to play or a movie to watch, how do we go about doing this? Consoles have digital game stores built in, right? I have a great idea. We can use that to find a great game to play. Let's head to the PlayStation Store and see if we can find ourselves a shiny new game. I may have lost a lot of money betting on the Olympics. So, let's set our budget at $4.99 and under. I'm feeling an action, adventure, or shooting game. So let's filter by those genres. We want a next-gen game, of course, so we'll filter for PS5 as the platform. And now we search. Man, none of these games seem to be catching my eye. I just really want a character with a gun in the thumbnail that's not a military shooter, you know? Oh shit, I think we found a winner! $4.99. It's also 3.93 out of 5 stars. And let's be real, mostly 5-star ratings here. It must be good, right? But you can never be too careful. So let's do a quick Google search for reviews on Waifu Impact. 9 out of 10 on Steam? Holy shit, I'm sold! I can't believe how easy it was to find a great game.
3 hours later.
Shit. I made a fatal miscalculation. I don't know if I'll ever be the same after playing Waifu Impact, but let me explain. Some of you out there may be wondering, what the hell is a waifu? And that's probably a good thing. But a waifu is a fictional character, especially from an anime cartoon, whom a person regards as a romantic partner. The only connection Waifu Impact has to this concept is that all the characters are cute anime-looking girls. And after my time with the game, they might as well have been nasty-ass xenomorphs from the Alien movies. Waifu Impact might be the worst game I've ever played.
There are rich teams and there are poor teams. Then there's 50 feet of crap. And then there's us. It's an unfair game.
You start the game on the beach of an island. There is no introduction, no objectives, no story, truly no purpose. The only indicators of anything are a star counter in the top right corner, a heart, which you can assume is a health gauge, and a water gauge for, I assume, your squirt gun. This game looks and plays like shit. It felt like something a college kid majoring in video game design would put together in his free time, but never share because he was too embarrassed. After a few minutes of playing around, I deduced a few important tidbits of information. First, the star counter shows you how many of the stars you have found that are scattered around the island. Second, you can unlock a new character every time you collect 5 stars. I then began my waifu journey, killing other waifus with my water pistol, collecting stars, until eventually I unlocked my second waifu, Setsuna. At this point, I figured out each character has a different water gun. Setsuna has an SMG type gun, and it's way better than Haruka's pistol. What the fuck is happening to me? Anyway, I decided that with every 5 stars, I would use the latest waifu I unlocked to gather the next 5 stars. Eventually, after several tedious minutes running around this barren island and completing occasional platforming challenges, I unlocked Yukina, Akane, Sane, and Aiko. Gathering all 25 stars took me about an hour, and I thought I beat the game. However, when I checked the character screen, I noticed that 2 waifus were still locked. How could this be? As soon as you collect all 25 stars, the arena unlocks on the island. At this point, I decided I had no choice but to enter the arena. The arena broke me. My first attempt with Akane was a disaster. I got cooked after a few rounds. The arena is a horde mode where you have to survive 20 waves of waifus. No checkpoints, no mercy, just pain. I didn't know if I could do it. Is it possible to conquer the waifu arena? What the hell am I doing with my life?
We're not indestructible. Baby, better get that straight.
But alas, like George Washington crossing the Delaware, I re-entered Waifu Arena with a new strategy and a new outlook on life. I suited up as Yukina, and let me tell you, I don't think it's possible to beat this without her. She's the sniper character, which means her gun one-shots waifus. This game is dog shit, so I figured out pretty quickly that the enemy waifus won't attack you if you keep enough distance, and that the gun has infinite range. I began doming waifus like I was Mark Wahlberg in Shooter. Sup, waifu? Say hi to your mother for me. One shot after one shot, wave after wave. One sound from this experience will haunt me for the rest of my days. At Wave 10, you are introduced to Giant Waifu, which is exactly what it sounds like. A big-ass enemy waifu. I am not exaggerating when I say this shit was grueling. The required level of patience and mental acuity was on par with some of the toughest gaming challenges I've completed in recent memory. By the time I reached Wave 20, I was exhausted. Hundreds of waifus obliterated. Several giant waifus conquered. All that remained was the final boss. And not gonna lie, by the time I got here, this chick was easy as pie. Took her out easy. I had successfully conquered the arena. My reward for this legendary feat? The boss I defeated in Wave 20 is now a playable character, her name being Kagura. Yeah, lucky me. This left one waifu to unlock. I had no clue how to unlock her either, so I had to Google it, and the answer was shocking. You have to kill 30 waifus on the island, then a giant waifu appears, and defeating her unlocks the final waifu. So I went to work, and lucky for you guys, you don't have to watch me grinding this out. To my surprise, the 30x combo really did summon the giant waifu. Using my skills I acquired in the arena challenge, this was a cakewalk, man. I had successfully unlocked all the waifus, but I was feeling greedy, so I went for the platinum trophy and 100% completion, baby. All I had left to do was kill 50 waifus each with the first 6 waifu characters. After a quick grinding sesh, I had done it! I became a waifu collector. Hell yeah. Reflecting on my time on Waifu Island, was the 3.93 star rating accurate? Hell no! That game is repetitive, ugly, and the world would be better off if it didn't exist in the first place. The Waifu Collector Platinum Trophy will forever be a permanent stain on my gaming record. What were we even talking about again? Oh yeah, I was supposed to be helping you pick out new things to play or watch. Now that we've seen how wrong this process can go, I think I should provide some better ways to make content decisions. And if that causes you to feel choice overload, I'm sorry. Recommendations from other people are a great way to determine your next game or movie. A recommendation from someone you trust can help you discover something you love that you otherwise might have missed out on entirely. Whether it's a friend, a family member, a YouTuber, store employee, or online article, it's a great idea to reach out to others for a few suggestions. After beating Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door recently, I was at a loss for what to play next. I was listening to a podcast about their Game of the Year picks, and someone brought up a game called Balatro. I didn't know much about it, just that it involved cards and poker hands. I decided to give it a try, and it turns out that it was made in a lab specifically for me. If the 12-year-old version of me got his hands on this game, he would have sold his soul and played it 14 hours a day, for sure. In the summer of 2015, I got extremely sick. I'll spare you the details, but basically I was bedridden for an entire month. It sucked. Which meant I had pretty much infinite TV time on my hands. I was feeling burnt out on shows or movies to watch, and one day my sister came in and told me I should watch the anime Death Note. I had pretty much only seen Dragon Ball Z before this when it came to anime, but I decided to give it a try, and I absolutely loved it. I was hooked from the first episode, and my experience with Death Note introduced me to a whole new genre and medium, and I'm still an anime watcher and fan to this day. Although, waifu impact is definitely making me rethink that. I cannot stress enough how important it is to get recommendations from people you trust. If you just Google Best Action Movies Netflix, you're not going to get a great list. I mean, just look at what pulled up for me. Hitman isn't an action movie, and I can only imagine how you would feel if you spent your precious free time watching J-Lo and Atlas. Yikes. Your best option here is actually Triple Frontier, which is one of the best versions of a modern 80s action film in my opinion. But if this is your method for finding recommendations,
You mustn't be afraid to dream a little bigger, darling.
every gamer has what is called a backlog. A collection of games they have acquired or purchased that is collecting dust on a digital shelf, or in some cases, an actual shelf. This can happen for a multitude of reasons. The main reason is usually that you find heavily discounted games on sale, so you pick up a game for cheap with the thought that you will eventually play it at some point. For example, I recently purchased a game for PSVR 2 called Stilt. It's a classic style 3D platformer where you use your arms to bounce as a creature with pogo stick legs. I bought this game for $1.99 when it's normally $20. I tried this game for 25 minutes and it made me want to puke my fucking brains out. But I'm still glad that it's in the backlog and maybe one day I'll get to it, you know? Buying a game you're mildly interested in for a bargain bin price makes sense on the surface. But what happens when you're accumulating games faster than you're even playing them? I've been guilty of this myself. And before you know it, you develop anxiety around completing your backlog because you don't believe you'll ever be able to complete it. You end up just playing NBA 2K again or watching Atlas, starring Jennifer Lopez on Netflix instead. My advice to you is to eliminate the concept of a backlog from your mind. Rather than treating games you haven't played but have purchased, or movies you haven't watched, like a chore or something you have to do, change your mindset to think of these things as new experiences you get to enjoy. We have thoroughly proven that it is literally impossible to experience all the content that is available to us. If you are playing a game in your backlog and decide to stop 4 hours in, that's okay. Don't make yourself feel worse thinking you are obligated to complete every single piece of media that you consume or own. All of this content is supposed to entertain and delight us. Don't let something designed to help you relax cause even more stress and anxiety in your life. It defeats the purpose entirely. My last suggestion would be to discover new things via association. If there is a game or some form of content you really enjoyed, try to find things that are related to it that you have a high chance of also liking. This is basically what algorithms on streaming platforms do. If you really enjoyed The Mother starring Jennifer Lopez, then the Netflix algorithm is likely going to recommend Atlas starring Jennifer Lopez to you. One of the biggest reasons I avoid playing a game or watching a movie or TV show is the time commitment. If I know a game is extremely long or a show has 5 seasons, each with 24 42-minute episodes, looking at you, Prison Break, I am very hesitant to engage with it at all. My advice here would be to shake it up. With games, I like having a chill game that I play when I don't have a big chunk of time to game, something that is low stress and easy to pick up and put down. For me, this is usually a sports game like College Football 25 or NBA 2K. My number one way to relax after a long day is playing 2K while listening to a podcast. Such a great way to unwind. For those bigger windows of free time, I like to have a more involved game, usually a single player game of some kind. Right now, that game is Persona 3 Reload, and I am having just a delightful time. I am a big fan of the Persona series. I discovered Persona 5 Royal right at the beginning of the pandemic when everybody was in lockdown in their houses. I lived alone at the time, and I actually found the life simulator / management gameplay to be really comforting. You play as a Japanese high schooler, and you play out each day. You decide who you hang out with, which activities you do, and ultimately how you spend your time when you are in the combat-focused sections of the game. I could do a whole video on the Persona series and why I enjoy it, but these games are known to be very lengthy, with playtimes nearing 100 hours, and I wouldn't say the gameplay is suited for short play sessions. This is likely to scare off a lot of players, but my advice would be not to worry about the length or runtime of something if it sounds interesting to you. I don't believe everything should be the same length. There's also no deadline on finishing something that you are doing for fun, so who gives a shit if it takes you months or even years to complete as long as you're enjoying yourself. So don't be afraid to jump into a longer game if it has a concept or premise that seems interesting to you. I would have totally missed out on Persona if I would have looked at the runtime and be like, oh shit, it's going to take me 100 hours to beat this game. But I would have missed out on something that I really enjoyed. I've reflected a lot on how much life changes going from childhood to adulthood. I remember the summer days as a kid when you had all the time in the world and only had Super Mario 64 to play, but that was all you needed to have an amazing afternoon. I compare that to now, where I have nearly infinite choices of things to play, but only so many hours to play, and honestly, that bums me out quite a bit. But there is hope, dear viewer, and it must come from within. You too can reunite with your inner child and once again experience the joy of discovering new things. Look at things from a fresh perspective. Be curious. Be willing to step outside of your comfort zone every once in a while, and you are sure to stumble upon something you end up loving. Don't let your hobbies turn into chores, my friends. The next time you think, I have nothing to play, I hope you remember this video and replace that thought with, at least I'm not playing Waifu Impact. Thanks for watching. Here we are at the beautiful White Rim Overlook Trail with this massive canyon behind me. And, you know, we climbed every mountain, and now this video is over. Thank you for watching.